Shalom. We're the real Hebrew. We're the Hebrew Israelites, and we come out every week, prophesy the downfall of this kingdom, America, which is called the daughter of Babylon in the Bible, and to teach you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that you are the Lord's chosen people in the Bible. If you come from the bloodline of Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth of the Bible. Peace and mercy to the brothers around the world pushing the truth.
So we're going to talk about the Passover because we're in the Passover right now. Today is at sundown will be the starting of the Passover. And also it is a Sabbath. So it's the full moon as prescribed in, you want to get Exodus 12? Yes. As prescribed in the Bible. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 12. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
So this is the first month. It started 2 weeks ago on the new moon. That's what the scripture's telling you. So what do you have to do? Because you have to do stuff if you believe you're a Hebrew Israelite. Because you can't just say, I believe I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and then not practice the things of our culture and our heritage, like we discussed last week. So what is part of the heritage and culture? We have to observe these statutes, laws, and commandments that the Bible has. And it's not just 10. It's about 600, almost 700. Can you give me a definition for word feast?
Exodus 12 and 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying...
So the congregation, what's the congregation? These people right here. So these people right here started it all. But as you all know, these people right here like to mingle with the other nations, like to get with other women. Like, do you know about soldiers? You know, so like a soldier...
I never served.
Yeah, but like a soldier goes out to a different country, and what's he gonna do? He's gonna have relations with those other women, right? Most likely. So these people go out there and they create other people, but those people still come from this line. Like Irish people, Italian people, some Spanish, some German. And there's a lot of different looking people, because I got stories from all over because I got a person in Brazil asking me, what should I do about the dengue fever? Because the mosquitoes over there are biting people and giving them dengue fever. I said, pray to the real name of the Lord. Because those people over there are Asher. The Colombians to Uruguayans, and that encompasses Brazil. See, so Brazil is part of that. So, you know what? Let me keep reading. Get the next one.
Speak 3. Speak unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
So each house gets a lamb. And what are we going to do with that lamb? We're going to have to eat it, right? So, naturally, we're supposed to do what the scriptures prescribe. Like have lamb. But if you can't have access to lamb, you can have goat. Goat is fine. But you still got to have the bitter herbs. And you still got to have that wine. Give me that definition for feast.
This is the definition for feast in the etymology online. Secular celebration with feasting and entertainment.
So now we got to talk about that word secular.
Often held on a church holiday.
So guess what? The church holiday is happening right now. It's not that building over there. That building over there doesn't say, oh, it's time to celebrate this. In fact, the Catholic Church is in charge of telling all the other churches what to celebrate. So I got the Compact Bible Dictionary, the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, and I went to the word Passover and it said go to the word feast. So the word feast, according to the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, is feast, were the sacred festival of Judaism, which were occasions of public worship. So we're doing what's called public worship right now. Even though we're not eating anything, we're not having a feast, we're eating this roll. We're eating this roll right here. There were 7 in all. The Passover, or Feast of Unleavened Bread, was established before giving of the law to celebrate the exodus from Egypt. It began on the 14th day of Nisan and continued for a week. Can you give me Leviticus 23 and start at 5? So that's what we're going to talk about. Can you go ahead and get the next one?
Going on, right? Exodus.
Yeah.
And if in the household to be little for the lamb, excuse me, Salakia, I'm going to start over. And if the household be too little for the land, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your own count for the lamb.
So the lamb has to be prepared for each family, and if the family's too small, like say if it's a father and son, he can join with another family. If it's two small families. Okay.
This is Leviticus 23 and 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
So that's what it is. That's what I was telling you before. You see? Now, everybody has a different opinion. Why? Because Esau has something called the Julian calendar, or the Gregorian calendar. I think it's the Gregorian calendar now, because the first one to set that up was Julius Augustus, or one of those Roman emperors, to distort the holidays, the holy days, the real holy days, and then they introduced their own holy days.
That's right, because if I might say this, the Passover, they call it Easter, you know, but Easter is really the Passover, you know, but they changed it up. They changed up the custom of the Bible.
And what happens on Easter? You have to go look for eggs, and what's that? That's the worshiping of Ishtar. Well, one of those devils, those false idols. So get me Deuteronomy 16 and 16. So the next one says, attendance was required of all male Jews. All males. So you and your son are going to have the Passover. You are going to have your Passover with your males. And you're going to be in the Passover in my house with your brother. But we're all going to do it as a family. Because we're all going to do it at the same time at night, right? When the evening comes. Once the evening comes, then the celebration can begin, but it's not really a celebration. Keep going in Exodus.
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out of the sheep, or from your or from the goats.
So we don't have. Each one of us don't have a perfect lamb, an unblemished lamb, or a goat even, or even a lamb to put those goats, or lamb, or sheep, or any kind of livestock. We don't have that luxury. You got Deuteronomy 16:16.
Deuteronomy 16:16. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yahweh Bashim Yahushai thy power in the place which he shall choose.
In the place where he shall choose. So the first one is the Passover. The first one is the Passover. And then we'll talk about the other holidays as they come up. So right now we're going to be talking about the Passover. So keep going, Caleb.
And you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
In the evening.
And then it said on the 14th day. So today's the 7th. So on the 14th we're supposed to keep this festival.
Today's the 14th.
The Passover. Oh, today's 14th.
Well, on the month it's the 8th, right? But we're going by the new moon.
Today's the 7th. Right? Today's the 7th.
Of the month?
Of the month.
Of the new month?
But it goes a week.
Yeah.
You got to go a week to keep the Passover.
Yeah. You gotta go a week.
So on the 14th, from the 7th to the 14th, that'd be the Passover.
And you gotta look at the calendar that you're observing. So it does happen on the 14th. It's a lot different. Because I was thinking it was today, but today is.
Today it starts the Sabbath tonight, and then it goes on for a week, and then when the week comes, then that's when you're supposed to eat the lamb. You know?
So we got a lot of partying to do, but it's not a party.
It's called a festival, you know, but it's a celebration of the Most High. You know, that's why they changed up that festival to a different kind of festival. You know.
So like it says here, the Passover, the feast lasted 1 day and marked the completion of the wheat harvest, at which 2 loaves of bread made from the new grain were offered to Yahweh.
And that whole week, you're not supposed to have any leavened bread in your house, you know.
In your house.
Or eat it, you know.
Yep.
If you can manage to do that, you know.
You can. Go ahead and.
And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper doors posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
Now today we can't go and kill the lamb and put the blood on our doorstep or on our doorpost, you know.
They'll call the cops on us. They'll be like, these guys are practicing some sort of witchcraft.
You know, but that blood represents the blood of Yahushua, you know. Because he is that lamb, you know, he is that lamb, he is that sacrifice.
So now get Matthew 1 and 21. So Yahushua is that lamb and is that sacrifice. Matthew 1 and 21. But there has to be some sort of clarification. Right, go ahead, get that.
Matthew 1 and 21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua. For he shall save his people from their sins.
So now we got to get to talking. So why do we celebrate the Passover? Because we're his people. So now I want you to take a look at this chart. Cameraman, get the camera on this part. Look it down a little bit. So right here is the Northern Kingdom. That's us. That's the Latinos. And lift it up a little bit more. And up here is the Southern Kingdom. So this happened during the time of Babylon to the Jews, right? And the Jews only mean Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The Northern Kingdom are the other 10 tribes. So we got to find out, you know, why are we practicing that? Why are we practicing that? Because these 2 people lived in Israel, in the land of Israel at one point in time. And then after several wars with the other nations, and they even had a war between themselves. So there had to be a separation. So like I said, Babylon was up here, Assyria, the Assyrian captivity was right here. So now let me get into the second book of Esdras. chapter 13, verse 41. Then let me start at 40. Now let me start at 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. So this is a peaceable multitude unto him. In 1492, Christopher Columbus came over here, and we didn't meet him with war. We didn't meet him with swords. He came to us with war. So this is a peaceable multitude. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, so they came into their land, into another land. So now we were carried away to another land, the Americas. And this is why we did it. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they will leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. That's the Americas. Because at that time in history, there was no, nobody in the old world knew about the new world. They didn't know about it. What they did know is that the land existed and that it had resources. That's all they knew.
It even tells you in the Bible that because if you look at that movie 1492, they tell you, you know, that America, how to discover America, you know.
Man, the apocrypha.
It tells you how long it took to get to America, you know.
A year and a half. And I think that's in 1 Kings chapter 11 or chapter 10, where Solomon sent ships, the fleet of Hiram.
Yeah.
So you see, we're not just up here creating a straw man argument. These are facts.
You know?
There's no distortion going on here. Let me continue on over here. Back in the second book of Esdras, chapter 13, verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So now, why didn't these people keep those statutes in their own land? Because we were under captivity. And at every captivity, the point of that captivity was to defile the temple, which is the people. And then the actual temple was defiled too.
So if we were to celebrate Easter, we wouldn't be keeping our, what did it say? Keeping our...
Let's see. That they might keep their statutes.
Yeah. If we were to celebrate Easter, we wouldn't be keeping the statutes that the Lord gave us. You know? We'd be going against the Lord.
And that's not what we're trying to do.
So today, we're keeping His statutes, you know? Instead of, I don't know when Easter is, when this world celebrates it, you know? You know, but that's not the day.
The first Sunday of April, I think.
Yeah.
Which goes into the Gregorian calendar. See, so there's the High Holy Days, the Hebrew Israelite calendar, let's call it that. And then there's the Roman calendar, the Julian calendar, and then the Gregorian calendar. Now the Gregorian calendar was fixed by some pope in some, I forget what time it was, like 1600s, but he fixed it where to, he added that leap year.
They added some more months.
They added some more months, yeah. And they switched everything around, and then they made Easter on April.
That's why the seasons are not in order right now.
No, those calendars are not aligned.
You know, because springtime is coming up. You know, and that is supposed to be the new year. It's around the new year is around springtime, not around the winter.
Nope.
The new year's not in the winter.
Keep reading.
And they shall eat the flesh that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and the bitter herbs they shall eat it.
Yeah, see, we got to do all that. So going back to the second book of Esdras. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then shewed signs for them, and had still the flood until they were passed over. So they were safe, right?
That's what Passover means.
Yeah.
You know, is that the Lord's gonna, you know, he's gonna set, like how it said in Exodus, he's gonna send a death angel to pass over, you know, to smite, you know, whoever's not following him, and then he's gonna protect the ones that are following him.
So that translates into, let's say, the coronavirus. The men of the Lord are going to get passed over from that, from all the plagues and all the diseases.
Because a lot of people are wearing masks, you know, but that's not. You think a mask is gonna save you? They tell you that a mask is not gonna save you. You know, it depends on your immunity system.
And another thing is, the World Health Organization is not going to save you either. I was watching The Outbreak last night before I went to bed because that shit came on Netflix. And this is how it started. So they were in the jungle chopping down fucking trees. Who was chopping down fucking trees? Esau. Who's that? So-called white man. He was chopping down fucking trees, and then all of a sudden one of his men got sick. And then the next thing you know, the whole town got sick. And then a bunch of fucking people in Africa got sick. And then they called the World Health Organization. And the doctor was like, we need this, we need that, we need this. The World Health Organization doctors, two of those guys were in hazmat suits, covered up, taped up. They took a sample from one of the survivors, and then they said, we're gonna give you everything you need. That's what they said. And then here comes the plane, and they were all happy at the fucking little camp. All the soldiers got up, and the doctors got up. They were celebrating, worshiping Esau. And guess what Esau dropped down on them? A fucking bomb, a napalm bomb, and cleaned their ass up.
Hey, that's the same thing in that movie Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because an outbreak happens in that movie Resident Evil, and a virus outbreak happens, and then they nuked the whole, you know, city.
Are you in
Nah.
Let me put the sign on here so you can see it. Hold the sign too. Go ahead. No, over here. First Kings 11. Well, let me get this so that I can cover that. In verse 45, in the second book of Esdras, chapter 13, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So now we're going to talk about, like brother said, that it took some time for them to get from the Middle East in ships to Arsareth. I think whenever you find it, go ahead.
Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roasted with fire, his head and his legs, and with the pertinence thereof.
Pertinence thereof. That means the hearts, the guts, everything that's inside of it. You're gonna roast that. Let me look for that. Keep going. Nope.
And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning you shall burn with fire.
With fire. So there's spiritual fire and there's literal fire. That means it's talking about literal fire. So that's going to happen too, because if you can't finish your meal, you get rid of it. So why don't these people practice Passover? Because it became Hellenist. And the word Hellenist is in the Bible's Underbring Compact Dictionary, page 223. Hellenists, Jews who made Greek their tongue and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. And you can find that information in Acts 6 and 1. You want to hold that and go to 6 and 1? Let me find that. No, it's
I think it was in second Ezra.
second, yeah. Well, I was already in second.
It was more down. Where it said it took a year to get to address.
Yeah. You want to read it?
Let's see. So this is Second Ezra 13 and Second Ezra 13 and 44. The Most High performed miracles for them and blocked the channels of the river until they had crossed over. So that's talking about when they were coming over here to the Americas. The Most High, he did miracles to the waters, so that they could make it over here. And it says their journey through that region, which is named Arzareth, took a year and a half.
Yeah, so I found that scripture I was looking for. It's chapter 10. It's 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 22. Chapter 10 of 1 Kings, verse 22. Because that's a beautiful scripture right there. Because that secret is revealed in where? What's the word apocrypha mean? Secret, right? So that secret was revealed in the apocrypha. That's why it's important to have your apocrypha. And it's important to have, look, see, this has precepts and this has history. This is the history part of this, and this is the precept. So you see the difference in the Bible. And then you got this one, which gives you like a little dictionary in the back, and there's math.
Oh yeah.
And there's a dictionary. See, you got, and I got another one that says the name of the Lord in Hebrew. So you got to know all these things. People want to tell you what they're thinking. Which one did I? Acts 6.
I'm on here. I got 6 and 1 and extra.
Go ahead, get that.
1 Kings 10 and 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish, which the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, and apes and peacocks.
1 in 3 years, right?
Once in 3 years, and then I just read that scripture. It said a year and a half.
Let me get it for you. Second book of Ezra, chapter 13 and 45. For throughout that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. So that's one-way trip. One-way trip is a year and a half. So what's 1.5 times 2? 3. You see, that's self-explanatory.
And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
Burn with fire. So now give me the Acts 6 and 1. So Acts is always in the back. So you just gotta know these things. It's a lot to know. But that just tells you the difference between Hellenist and then the real Hebrew Israelites.
Acts 6 and 1. And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration.
So now let me get let's talk about the word Grecian. So Hellenists, going back to the Hellenists in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Jews who made Greek their tongue, and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. So that's all we got to get on that. So let's go back to Passover. So did the Lord ever practice Passover? You know where that's at? Where the feast, when the Lord got betrayed? He announced his betrayal. Last Supper, yeah, look for the Last Supper. That's what it's called. So we're gonna talk about the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, the Yahweh Shai practice the Passover. So we're gonna look for the Last Supper.
It's in Matthew 26 and 17. This is Matthew 26 and 17. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?"
They said it perfect like that. What do you want us to do for the Passover? So keep reading in Matthew.
And it says, "And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples."
Man. So that's the Lord's Supper, right? So let's go ahead and get 1 Corinthians 11 and 20. You see, these have all the answers. These have all the answers, and these are the most holiest books in Israel. Yes, the other people have them. Gentiles have them. They read them. We try to understand them. They get a fucking headache. And then they start babbling. They say they're speaking in tongues. They say they got the fire.
Matthew 26 and 19. And the disciples did as Yahushua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover.
Made ready the Passover. So what did they do? They got a lamb, unblemished lamb of the first year. That takes money. So they had to raise funds. So that took money. They had to get the bitter herbs. Had to get the bitter herbs. Had to get wine. They had to rent a room too. They had to rent a room.
You said 20 and 11?
Yes.
First Corinthians 11 and 20. When ye come together, therefore, into one place, this is not to eat Yahweh's supper,